He met her mother when she was already pregnant, raised her like his own, loved her like she was blood. But on the most important day of her life, he wasn't even invited. Not a call, not a seat, not a thank you. This is the story of how Brian gave everything only to be forgotten when it mattered most. Brian was 33 when he first met Cynthia. It was in a small diner in Greenville, South Carolina, the kind of quiet town where everyone knows everyone, and strangers are just friends waiting to happen. Brian had just relocated there after landing a stable job as a systems technician for a manufacturing company. He wasn't looking for love. In fact, he had just come out of a long-term relationship and promised himself time to heal. But that promise didn't last long. Cynthia was radiant. She wasn't loud or flashy, but there was something about the way she carried herself that caught Brian's attention. She was kind, gentle, and visibly pregnant. He noticed the bump when she reached for her coffee cup. Their first conversation was innocent. She was sitting alone at a booth, reading a parenting book and sipping herbal tea. Brian, always polite, simply asked if the seat across from her was taken. Cynthia smiled and nodded. That was the beginning. Over the next few weeks, they bumped into each other more often at the grocery store, the library, even at the local farmer's market. Eventually, Brian asked her out for dinner. She hesitated at first. She made it clear she wasn't looking for anyone to step into her complicated life. The father of her unborn child had left months ago. No calls, no apologies, just disappeared. But Brian wasn't scared off. If anything, he admired her strength. And slowly, gently, he began to weave himself into her world. By the time baby Alana was born, Brian was already a fixture in their lives. He wasn't her biological father, but he was the one who held Cynthia's hand in the delivery room, the one who stayed up all night during Alana's first fever, the one who took on extra shifts just to afford diapers and formula. He became daddy by default. And when Alana was 2, he officially married Cynthia in a small backyard ceremony, surrounded by close friends and a few supportive neighbors. The years flew by like pages in a well-loved novel. Brian poured himself into fatherhood. He taught Alana how to ride a bike, stayed up helping her with science projects, and never missed a single parent-teacher conference. He even learned to braid her hair before school. She wasn't his by blood, but to him, she was his in every way that mattered. He sacrificed promotions so he could be home more. He missed nights out with friends to attend ballet recitals. He saved every extra dollar to help with her future. He never once made her feel like she was someone else's child. By the time Alana was in high school, Brian was close to 50. He had grayed at the temples and picked up a bad knee from years of work and chasing a growing girl around playgrounds. But he still made time for her. Where are you watching this from? Drop your country or city in the comments. Because whether you're in South Carolina like Brian or halfway across the world, this kind of heartbreak you're about to see knows no borders. Keep watching. There's an important question I want you to answer at the end of the video. Back to Brian. Brian was 50 when Alana's college applications rolled in. He stayed up late helping her polish essays. He took her to campus tours, bought her first laptop, and when she got accepted into UCLA, he was the one who shouted the loudest. He even planned a small graduation party for her, renting a hall and inviting family, friends, and teachers who had supported her along the way. And then it happened. The graduation day came. He took the day off work, dressed in his best shirt, carried a bouquet of flowers, only to realize his name wasn't on the guest list. At first, he thought it was a mistake. But when he called Cynthia in a panic, she said in a quiet voice, Alana wanted it that way. She said it was her day, and she didn't want to complicate it. Complicate it? What does that even mean? Brian asked, his voice cracking. She just felt it would be best if her real family was there, Cynthia said. Brian stood frozen in the parking lot of the school. The girl he had raised, the one who called him Daddy, the one he stayed up with when she had nightmares, had now decided he wasn't real family. She had invited her biological father, the same man who disappeared before her birth. And Brian? He was left standing there, uninvited, unwanted. The party he planned was quietly canceled. The decorations remained in the boxes. The cake he ordered went untouched. That night, he didn't sleep. He walked into Alana's room, looked at the empty space where she used to hang her drawings of the two of them, and felt a deep, aching hole in his chest. He didn't yell, didn't confront her. He just shut down. Days turned to weeks. Cynthia tried to apologize, said it was a moment of confusion, said Alana was under pressure. But Brian couldn't forget the choice that had been made. He started spending more time outside the house, volunteering at local community events, fixing up old computers for kids who couldn't afford them. Anything to distract his mind. One night, Cynthia found him sitting on the back porch, staring at the stars. "I know you're hurt," she said. "Hurt doesn't even begin to describe it," he replied. She reached for his hand, but he pulled away. "I gave her everything," Brian whispered, "and she chose a stranger over me." Cynthia's eyes welled with tears. "She's young." She was confused. Brian shook his head. "Number, she knew exactly what she was doing. And you let her." For the first time in their marriage, the silence between them felt permanent. A few weeks later, Brian packed a small bag. He didn't make a scene. He just left a note on the kitchen counter. "I loved you both, but I can't stay in a place where love is erased so easily. I need time to figure out if this pain is worth carrying for the rest of my life." Brian moved to a small town just outside of Asheville, North Carolina, rented a quiet cabin, took up hiking, adopted a rescue dog. But the memories never fully left. Sometimes he would scroll through old photos, birthdays, school plays, family trips, and he'd wonder, was I just a placeholder until the real thing came back? Alana never called. Cynthia messaged a few times. Short updates, no pressure, just checking in. But Brian didn't reply, because sometimes the wound isn't from the knife, it's from the hands that held it. Now a year has passed. Brian sits with a decision. Should he go back? Try to rebuild? Or close the chapter for good? A part of him still loves them, but another part wonders if love that forgets your sacrifices was ever real to begin with. Who do you think carries the most blame? The mother who allowed it, or the daughter who made the choice?